The evacuation klaxon screamed through the corridors of Mining Station 7 as Ambassador Krell pressed himself against the wall. His forearms trembled while emergency lights painted everything in harsh red. Outside the reinforced windows, the Void Hunter's black ship circled like predators sensing blood. "Ambassador, we must reach the shelter," his aide whispered, Cyan's skin pale with terror. Krell nodded, but before they could move, an explosion rocked the station. The main docking bay doors buckled inward. Through the smoke came the Void Hunters, 7 feet of armored nightmare, their energy weapons cutting down the station's security forces like grass before a scythe. The Galactic Council had sent their best soldiers to protect this outpost. Those soldiers now lay scattered across the deck, their advanced armor useless against the raiders' weaponry. The Void Hunters had earned their reputation across 100 systems as unstoppable killers who took what they wanted and left nothing but corpses. "Communications are down," someone screamed. "The fleet won't arrive for 6 hours. 6 hours." They had minutes at best. Then came a sound that made everyone freeze. A rhythmic thumping from the damaged docking bay. Not explosions, footsteps, measured, deliberate, almost casual. Through the smoke walked 5 figures in black armor so dark it seemed to absorb light. No insignia marked their gear except for a small blue and green sphere on their shoulders. Earth. The lead figure carried a primitive projectile weapon, the kind most species had abandoned centuries ago. Who authorized human military presence here? Krell's aide gasped. The lead human raised a hand and his team spread out with fluid precision. They moved differently than the Council soldiers. No wasted motion, no hesitation. The Void Hunters noticed them and laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "More prey," their leader growled through his translator. "These ones don't even have energy shields." The human leader tilted his head slightly. When he spoke, his voice was calm through the station's damaged speakers. "Mining Station 7, this is Captain Rivera, Earth Special Operations Command. Please remain in secure positions." The Void Hunter commander raised his plasma cannon. 5 humans against 20 of us? Your species really is as stupid as they say." Rivera's team didn't respond with words. The first Void Hunter died before anyone saw the humans move. One moment the raider stood laughing. The next his head simply wasn't there anymore. The crack of the rifle shot came a heartbeat later. "Primitive weapons." Another Void Hunter sneered, activating his shield. "They cannot penetrate our..." The armor-piercing round went through his shield, his armor and the wall behind him. Then the lights went out. In the darkness, Krell heard sounds that would haunt him forever. Not the clean hum of energy weapons or the organized advance of Council soldiers. This was something else. Controlled violence executed with surgical precision. The snap of bones. The whistle of blades. Brief screams cut short. When the emergency power kicked in 30 seconds later, 12 Void Hunters lay dead. The remaining 8 had formed a defensive circle, their earlier arrogance replaced by something the galaxy rarely saw in their kind: fear. "What are you?" the Void Hunter commander demanded. Captain Rivera stepped forward, reloading his weapon with practiced ease. "Just soldiers. Impossible. The Council soldiers couldn't..." "We're not Council soldiers." Another human, shorter but equally deadly, had somehow appeared behind the Void Hunters. "Those were your regular military. Good people, decent fighters." The Void Hunter spun, trying to cover all angles. How had the human gotten behind them? "See? Here's what your intelligence reports missed," Rivera continued conversationally, as if discussing weather. "When humanity joined the galactic community, you all looked at our basic soldiers and thought you had our measure. Professional, competent, nothing special by galactic standards." A Void Hunter raised his weapon. The movement had barely begun when a knife sprouted from his throat. None of the humans had seemed to move. "But every species has their elite," Rivera said. "You've got your Void Hunters. The Altarians have their Solar Guard. The Canari have those psychic warriors." Another Void Hunter tried to run. He made it 3 steps before dropping, a single hole in his helmet leaking purple blood. "Humanity calls ours Special Forces." Rivera checked his weapon. "Here's the thing about humans. We've been perfecting warfare for our entire existence. Not because we love it, but because we're very, very good at surviving." The Void Hunter commander's hands shook as he raised his plasma cannon. "You're monsters." "No." Rivera's voice held no emotion. "Monsters kill for pleasure. We're professionals," the commander fired. Rivera sidestepped the plasma bolt with minimal effort. drew his sidearm and put 2 rounds through the commander's visor before the alien could fire again. The last 6 Void Hunters broke and ran. They made it halfway to their ship before the station snipers, invisible until now, eliminated them with clinical efficiency. In the sudden silence, Ambassador Krell emerged from cover, his heart still racing. The station's survivors began appearing, staring at the 5 humans who had eliminated a force that had terrorized the galaxy. How? Krell asked. The Void Hunters have conquered entire systems. Rivera removed his helmet, revealing an unremarkable human face. Brown eyes, short hair, perhaps 30 Earth years old. He could have been anyone, a teacher, a technician, a clerk. That normalcy made him somehow more terrifying. Ambassador, the Void Hunters are used to fighting soldiers who follow rules, patterns, honor codes. He gestured to his team. Special forces don't fight. We hunt, we don't engage in battles, we end them. But 20 against 5, the shortest human laughed. Captain, should we tell him about Colombia? That's classified, Thompson. What about Yemen? Also classified. Krell's translator struggled with the next word Thompson used, eventually settling on classified as well. Rivera turned back to the ambassador. The Galactic Council measured humanity by our regular forces and found us acceptable. Standard, average. He paused. They never asked about our special operations capabilities. Why didn't Earth reveal this capability during the membership negotiations? Because advertising your strengths makes them weaknesses, Rivera signaled his team. Besides, the galaxy already feared human soldiers based on our history. Imagine if they knew those were just our regular troops. As the humans prepared to leave, Krell found his voice. Wait, you saved us all. Let me at least report your names for commendation. Rivera smiled, an expression that didn't reach his eyes. That won't be necessary, Ambassador. Officially, we were never here. The station's security forces repelled the attack. But that's not what happened. No, Rivera agreed. But the galaxy doesn't need to know that Earth's special operations forces are already deployed to 13 systems. They don't need to know we've been watching the Void Hunters for months, waiting for them to attack somewhere we could respond. They certainly don't need to know this was a test. A test? To see if our methods work against galactic-level threats. Rivera put his helmet back on. They do. The team moved toward their unmarked ship, a vessel Krell hadn't even noticed arriving. Before boarding, Rivera turned back. Ambassador, you asked how 20 Void Hunters lost to 5 humans. The answer is simple, they were warriors. Fearsome, brutal, effective warriors. He paused. But warriors fight for glory, for conquest, for fear. Special Forces operators fight to complete the mission. Nothing more, nothing less. And our mission parameters are very, very simple. What parameters? Win. By any means necessary. The black ship departed as quietly as it had arrived, leaving Krell standing among the bodies of the galaxy's most feared raiders. When the Council fleet arrived hours later, they found the station secure and the Void Hunter threat eliminated. The official report credited the station's security forces with a heroic last stand. But throughout the galaxy, a whisper began to spread. The humans that everyone had dismissed as average, unremarkable soldiers had been hiding something. The regular forces that barely registered as a threat were just the visible part of humanity's military. The special ones, the ones they called Special Forces, were already out there, watching, waiting, operating in shadows the galaxy didn't even know existed. Within a week, 3 more Void Hunter raids were mysteriously thwarted. A terrorist cell preparing to destroy a colony ship simply vanished. Pirates who had plagued shipping lanes for decades were found dead in their hidden base. No sign of who had eliminated them. The Galactic Council never received any claims of responsibility. No demands for recognition or reward, just a steadily growing realization that humanity's true military capability had never been about their regular soldiers, the ones the galaxy already feared. It was about the ones they never saw coming. In secure council chambers, military leaders began reassessing humanity's threat level, not because Earth showed aggression, but because they finally understood the difference between soldiers and special forces. Soldiers held lines, fought battles, defended positions. Special forces removed problems before they became battles. And humanity, it seemed, had been removing problems very quietly for much longer than anyone had realized. The Void Hunters, what remained of them, abandoned 3 sectors of space within a month, not because of any direct threat or ultimatum, but because their scouts kept disappearing. Their bases kept being discovered,